The first rugby event held at the new Highspeed Stadium. The Culture, Sports and Tourism Chief talks about plans to attract more overnight holiday makers. And in South Korea, a court rejects the impeached president's objection to the execution of an order to detain him. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The Highspeed Stadium, with a capacity to hold 50,000 spectators, attracted 10,000 visitors to its first test event today, featuring rugby matches between the city's universities. Many said they were pleased with the newer facilities in the arena. Secretary for Security Chris Tang said the event largely ran smoothly. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Located inside the Highspeed Sports Park, the Highspeed Stadium hosted its first large-scale event today, featuring an inter-university rugby sevens tournament. A total of 17 teams joined the competition, while around 10,000 people were invited to watch the games. Many said they were in awe of the new arena.
So far, the feeling is good because more spicy. While when you see all the equipment's new, the seat arrangement is more space between, and it seems like they're air conditioned under the seat. I'm looking forward to try it.
I'm very, very impressed. Facilities and organisation looks very good. I think the South Stand there is going to be iconic in this thing, so I think they've done a really good job.
I think it's really nice. I wasn't expecting it to be as impressive. It's definitely an upgrade from the old stadium, and I'm quite excited to have the sevens here this year.
Many revelers said they're most excited about the availability of air conditioning and new facilities at the Highspeed Stadium, calling them significant improvements over Hong Kong Stadium, and noted the ease of transportation to the area. For those who wish to get a drink while watching, a 100-meter-long bar is available on the second floor of the stadium. It is also the longest bar in all of Asia's sports arenas. This, as some players today also shared their thoughts on how the stadium benefits their performance.
The grass is good, and it's supportive for the players to run and play good. I think it's less injury in this ground compared to other grounds I have played.
Meanwhile, Secretary for Security Chris Tang, who visited the arena during the morning, stressed the overall procedure of the test event ran smoothly. He added that there will be at least 3 more test events in the future involving some 65,000 people. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Speaking with TVB News, Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Rosanna Law said the city will work to attract more overnight holiday makers, not just day trippers, as part of the city's Tourism Blueprint 2.0. They include leveraging the panda, cruise and equestrian-related attractions. The development blueprint for Hong Kong's tourism industry 2.0 unveiled earlier this week has set the direction for the city's tourism development down the road. Speaking with TVB News, Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Rosanna Law said she hopes the blueprint does so with clarity and pragmatism.
Everybody in Hong Kong has a part to play to be a good tourist ambassador.
While the bulk of tourists in Hong Kong hail from the mainland, accounting for 80%, Law said there is a 30% rise in holiday makers from ASEAN countries, with notable surges of Filipino, Thai and Indonesian visitors. Many have come as a family.
Our objective is to first entice them to come to Hong Kong, fall in love with Hong Kong, or fall in love with Hong Kong again, and then they will come back, they will return, they will stay longer.
Tourist numbers brought by cruises also returned to about 70% of pre-pandemic levels. With efforts including halal certification, the Hong Kong Tourism Board will work to woo more Middle Eastern tourists. To the panda economy, we know we have 6 pandas right now in Hong Kong.
Yes.
How can we better leverage them, given we have star-making factories
right.
in the mainland? How can we compete with them for attention?
For example, Fafa in Sichuan or Fubao in Korea and some others, to see how they promote the pandas, how they give them character, how they actually personalize these pandas. Right now, I know that a lot of people are actually very interested in how Ying Ying take care of her new babies.
Another charm offensive that the government sets sights on, the equestrian economy.
A lot of horse enthusiastic tourists, they are coming here just for the races. Can we actually elevate some of our major local races into events like the Royal Ascot or other important races in the world where friends of races will find impossible to miss?
To prevent similar mishaps of the fall of a massive video screen at Hong Kong Coliseum in the 2022 concert, LAWSAT test runs have been ongoing to implement the enhanced working guidelines with draft technical operating regulations at the Hong Kong Coliseum and the Queen Elizabeth Stadium. They are aiming to have some of the draft regulations finalized in the first quarter of 2025, and hopefully some of the safety rules can be applied to facilities at the new Kai-Tak Sports Ground. 3 franchise bus operators have raised their fares. Fare hike notices were posted at the bus terminal. Some residents did not know the fare adjustments kicked in today, adding it might heap more financial burdens on low-income families. Among the 3 operators, Citybus has the biggest increase of 7.5%. Passengers pay 60 cents more on average per ride. Kowloon Motorbus, or KMB, has increased its fares by 4.3%. 95% of passengers are expected to pay no more than $1 extra. New Lantau Bus, meanwhile, has raised its fares by 6.5%. The public can refer to the websites of the Transport Department and bus companies for the new bus fares. The Hong Kong section of the Highspeed Rail has expanded its network with 16 new stations. They include the launch of longer haul destinations such as Xi'an. The Highspeed Railway now connects Hong Kong with 93 mainland sites, more than double the number during the railway's launch. The first high-speed train to Xi'an set off from Hong Kong at around 9 a.m. with a launch ceremony at West Kowloon Station. The 11-hour train ride passes through 15 stations, including Hengshan in Hunan, Luoyang in Henan, and Huashan in Shanxi. The train is scheduled to reach Xi'an North Station at around 8 p.m. This passenger set is not as cramped as the economy class seats in a plane. Another passenger said she can also enjoy the view and scenery during the journey. This travel agency representative said high-speed rail tickets are cheaper than flight tickets and the railway is more punctual as flights are sometimes delayed and cancelled due to weather conditions. Jenny Yeung, managing director of the MTR's Hong Kong Transport Services, said Xi'an is the capital of 13 ancient Chinese dynasties and is also a heavyweight in modern scientific and industrial research in Western China. She hopes the new service will also attract more Xi'an people to visit Hong Kong. For shorter haul destinations, the new additions are Meizhou Station and Xintang Station, which is along the Guangzhou East Line. With the rail network expansion, passengers can travel directly between Hong Kong and 93 mainland destinations. A South Korean court today rejected impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol's objection to the execution of an order to detain him. This as pro- and anti-Yoon rallies were held in Seoul with people braving freezing and snowy conditions. Yoon's lawyer raised objections to the arrest warrant in a court in the capital city, but in vain. On Friday, police and investigators were unable to arrest Yoon at his official residence after being confronted by his supporters and the president's security service. Hundreds of Yoon supporters gathered in front of his residence on Saturday in a show of support. Anti-Yoon protesters also held a demonstration on Saturday, demanding his immediate arrest. They condemned Yoon for defying attempts to arrest him. Yoon caused a political crisis on December 3rd when he declared martial law, which lasted for 6 hours, and eventually led to his impeachment by the National Assembly. Israeli military strikes in the Gaza Strip have killed at least 88 people. This as mediators have launched a new ceasefire push to end the 15-month-old war. U.S. President Joe Biden is keen for a truce before he leaves office in 2 weeks' time, while sources say he is also planning a multi-billion-dollar deal to sell arms to Israel. Close to 46,000 Palestinians have been killed since Israel began its military campaign in Gaza, after the Hamas attacks on Israel on October 7, 2023. Nasir Karim with more.
A grieving young man crouched in the corner of Al-Aqsa Hospital in Dar al-Bala, central Gaza. Many wounded and at least 3 dead in this particular Israeli strike. Women wailed during the funerals for at least 10 Palestinians killed in the southern Khan Yunis district after strikes on a house, vehicle and street. In Gaza city in the north, at least 17 people were killed in airstrikes on 2 houses. Palestinian authorities say many of the dead from attacks across Gaza on Friday and Saturday were children and women. The continued carnage comes amid US President Joe Biden's plan to sell $8.1 billion worth of arms to Israel. Reports say Biden has notified Congress of the proposed sale that would need approval from the House of Representatives and Senate committees. The package includes munitions for fighter jets and helicopters, as well as artillery shells, small diameter bombs and warheads. On the ceasefire front, Israel has reportedly dispatched negotiators to Doha. The Palestinian group Hamas says indirect talks will begin to thrash out a deal. Months of on and off talks have yet to bring about a solution, with both sides blaming each other. The US is keen to secure a ceasefire before the new administration of President-elect Donald Trump takes over on January 20th. The parents of Liri Albag, an Israeli soldier held hostage by Hamas, has urged their leaders to step up efforts to secure a deal. This after Hamas released a video of Albag, who was shown saying the lives of hostages are in danger because of Israel's military action in Gaza. Her parents said the video had torn her hearts to pieces and pleaded with the government to bring back the hostages alive. Their voices were echoed by other relatives of hostages who for months have been holding weekly rallies in Israel, demanding Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his government do more to ensure their release. One protest in Tel Aviv turned violent as demonstrators clashed with police. A fire was started in the middle of the highway, and protesters were carried away from the scene by officers. Nazri Karim, TVB News.
Austria's Chancellor is set to resign after talks on forming a new government collapsed. Karl Nehammer said his People's Party are pulling out of coalition discussions that have dragged on for months. The far-right Freedom Party won the election, but other groups refused to work with them. David Garrett reports.
Addressing Austrians directly on social media, Chancellor Karl Nehammer says he will resign in the coming days. He told fellow citizens talks have ended and will not be continued by the People's Party. Nehammer will leave his position as party leader, saying destructive forces in the Social Democratic Party, or SDP, have gained the upper hand. The SDP called it a bad decision. Most of the disagreements centre around the economy. The European Commission says Austria has to save around €20 billion to balance the books. Already in a recession with rising unemployment, the Central European country held elections 3 months ago. The far-right Freedom Party, led by Herbert Kickl, won late September's election with 29%, taking 57 seats in the 183-seat parliament. Nehammer's People's Party and parties on the left have tried to form an alliance to stop Kickl taking power. The Liberal Neos pulled out of talks on Friday. Now Nehammer has followed. The party is already trying to find a new leader ahead of a tense, unpredictable week in Austrian politics, with the president due to address the nation tomorrow. David Garrett, TVB News.
And still ahead, police arrested 31 people in connection with a fraud syndicate. Thousands take part in a half marathon on the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. And a smart assistant to the 3 Shenzhou 19 taikonauts aboard the Tiangong space station. Welcome back. Police have arrested 31 individuals from a crime syndicate that used deepfake technology on social media to lure victims into investing in fraudulent virtual currency. The victims were scammed out of some $34 million. Anip tells us more.
Officers from the Commercial Crime Bureau of the police arrested 31 people last Thursday and Friday in 2 industrial buildings in Kowloon Bay. Among the arrestees were students and unemployed individuals aged between 20 and 34. They were all involved in the same fraud syndicate. Authorities said the group would train members to create fake identities on dating platforms, pretending to lead luxurious lifestyles and to meet people from other places, including Taiwan, Singapore, and Malaysia.
This deception or scam syndicate use different kind of tactics, including some psychological methods to induce the potential victims to gain their trust and confidence in order to induce them to make investment. They also make use of the new technology like the different AI phrase swapping technologies to propose to be some good-looking ladies and gentlemen to induce the potential victims to gain their trust.
The police officer said the syndicate set up 2 scam centers in Kowloon Bay to reduce the risk of being wiped out by authorities. Syndicate members operated in shifts around the clock to attract more victims. After large amounts of investment were made by the victims, the syndicate would cut out all contact with them and disappear. The money made from scams would be stored in safes or exchanged for luxury items, police said.
Today, we have a very rapid technology development. Fraud methods are also consistently evolving. So we appealed and urge people not to trust anyone when making any investment.
Kung cautioned the public to be wary of online solicitations for investments in projects that promise high returns and quick profits. She said fraud is a serious offense carrying a maximum penalty of 14 years in prison. And TVB News.
Thousands of runners took part in a half marathon on the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge on Sunday. Celine Chen tells us more.
Organizers arranged shuttle buses to send runners to the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge's Hong Kong session before the sun even rose. 2,500 elite runners set off at 7:15 a.m. on the 21.1-kilometer course. Runners praised organizers for addressing issues raised after last year's half marathon, with the number of portable toilets increased to 130 and water stations upgraded as well.
The first time you can run on the bridge, and this what I thought the organisation was really good. The course is really nice, so yeah, came and did it a second year, try and beat my time, and it's really nice. Everyone's in a really good mood.
3, 2, 1. The event this year was designated a gold label road race by World Athletics, attracting world-class elite runners from across the globe. Mikel Satolosa from Ethiopia crossed the finishing line first in 1 hour, 1 minute and 27 seconds. Japan's citizen runner and 2018 Boston Marathon winner Yuki Kawauchi was popular among runners.
Elite runner is very, very good.
Government officials, including Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Rosanna Law, Secretary for Justice Paul Lam, and other members of the Executive Council took part in a special 2-kilometer race. Law says she fully supports the idea of promoting large-scale events to overseas travelers who may likely stay overnight and spend money.
Runners who completed the race will receive finishing medals at the finishing point to keep as souvenirs. Celine Chan, TVB News.
The 3 Shenzhou 19 taikonauts in China's Tiangong space station was recently joined by a new working partner. Named Xiao Hang, the smart assistant could help undertake multiple tasks in space. More than 2 months into their mission, the 3 taikonauts completed their first activities outside the spacecraft. They also commissioned their new smart assistant Xiao Hang last week to help conduct space experiments. For their latest life science experiments, the China Manned Space Agency said these fruit flies could be the first species to be bred into the 3rd generation on board the orbiting space station. The space agency says the Shenzhou 18 crew who have returned to Earth will likely greet the public this month. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.